This is Sean Marie Higgins with another episode of Spirit Call Out. This is where I connect with spirit in order to connect to them with their living in body loved ones. Is your crossed over loved one or loved ones trying to reach you? Listen and find out. I'm going to start right in with today's call out. And along the way, I'll explain some lessons that I learned to hopefully teach everyone listening some things about mediumship and maybe some symbols that can be transferred from what spirit is sharing with me as symbology that may help clear up something for you that you have also experienced in your mediumship practice or communication with spirit. So, this is an educational podcast as well as connecting crossed over beings or beings in spirit with their living in body loved ones. So, today I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right away and show you who came to me. This gentleman appeared to me as a very solid image, as a scene of a man eating at a small table, putting a fork of food into his mouth. He appeared to be about 40 years old or so, with light brown or dirty blonde hair. He had a full head of hair. He was not balding in any way. I saw him like this, right profile in my visual field. It's his right side that we're seeing. The first information I received telepathically without doubt as an entire concept is that this man took his own life. He committed suicide. He felt alone when he committed suicide. He did not have a wife. He did not have children, or at least if he did, they were not living with him any longer. So he lived alone. He did not have a significant other. In his mind at that time, he did not leave anyone or anything behind when he took his own life. He simply had nothing left, or felt he had nothing left to live for. No one left to live for. He felt very alone and purposeless. He realizes now that he was wrong. He had a lot to live for, and he still does and is, just in a different form. And he knows now that he did leave people behind that love him very much, and he wants to say he's sorry. I'm going to come back to some details about him after I tell you the next being that faded in. So first I saw this gentleman eating, felt this telepathic information that I just told you. The image then faded out, and another image faded in of a dog as its own separate scene immediately after the man faded away. This made me feel like this is more of a distant crossing over. The dog had crossed over before the man. The dog faded in also as a lighter density than the man, which also is a symbol for me that I telepathically learned during this call out while it was happening. That the less dense form that I saw indicates that this being, the dog, died more distantly compared to the other being that's involved in this case, which is the man. So let's say the dog appeared to me to reach a human companion that's living, then the dog would have appeared very dense. But in contrast to the man, the dog is coming in less dense to show that two beings here are being called attention to. In relationship to each other, the dog passed away first and then the man. This dog appeared to be a yellow lab, but with a longer snout and longer ears. It was a large dog laying down on the floor. I'll show you a picture here. Laying down on the floor beside a chair or table. And I saw this dog's left profile. So the dog was facing to my left. The back of its body or its hind quarters were facing towards my right visual field. So I saw the man appear in my upper left visual field looking right, and I saw the dog appear in my right lower visual field looking left, but these appeared as separate scenes. This dog has a very calm, docile manner, very comfortable with this man. They knew each other. They had a relationship. They were companions in life. This was an adult dog at the time of death, maybe even an older dog, and very good mannered. I believe this dog belonged to the man, or how I usually say this is they were companions, because I don't believe anyone can own an animal, but I do believe animals and humans can be companions and committed companions during life. I believe this man had a special attachment to this dog and loved the dog very much. The man also is showing me the dog as an identifying factor as to who he is. The man loved the dog very much, but he did not attempt to take his life because the dog passed away. But since the dog was gone, it was no longer a responsibility for him or an anchor to his life on this earth anymore. So it was just one less thing keeping him here. The purpose for this man coming through now is to say, I'm sorry, and he wants to clear up any ambiguity around his death. He also understands now that it was wrong to take his own life. However, now he is in a place of love and peace, and he is with his dog. I then heard the words, "It was an attempt." That confused me initially because I had initially received the telepathic information that this gentleman took his own life. But then I heard the words, "It was an attempt." This could be clearing up any ambiguity around the cause of death of this gentleman. He wants to be clear that it was an attempted suicide that may have lingered so that his actual suicide attempt failed. However, he then passed away anyway. And the cause of death could have been a little bit ambiguous, but he says he did attempt suicide, whether or not it was the actual end all reason that he died, and that he is sorry for that. A few more details as they came through to me. This man may have living siblings. He felt alone. So it was almost like he was an only child, but I feel that he may have had siblings during his life. And it's interesting how Spirit called my attention to the fact that the man was sitting at a very small table, only big enough for one or two people. And he was definitely eating at it by himself alone. And since I saw him looking to the right, you can see that he's eating with that same hand. This could have been identifying that he was right-handed because he was eating with his right hand in my visual field. And the way he was sitting at the table was also called to my attention. The fact that his elbow was resting on the table and his other arm also was resting on the table on the other side of the plate, kind of like he was just leaning on the table as if he was not really paying attention to etiquette or posture, kind of giving an indication about his mannerisms just as a person. He was very down to earth kind of person who didn't really pay attention to dressing up, or he didn't really prefer nice restaurants. He preferred more of the diner type of place to eat. He was the type of guy that would wear flannels and jeans, maybe Carhartts most of the time, even when he went out to eat. He may have had his sleeves rolled up to about 3/4 of the way, and he was wearing kind of a flannel shirt. He was not a proper guy at all. He's the kind of person, like I said, who eats at diners and not ritzy restaurants. And the way he was just looking forward, kind of off to nothing or out a window. And it was an interesting concept because Spirit called my attention to that. And I felt like it was another indication that he felt very alone. When he ate meals, he was alone. Joy was not something that he felt when he was in living body. He did not feel joy at all anymore. He didn't have fun during holidays or birthdays. He didn't get excited about those things. He did not have any fun hobbies, although he may have had some to keep him busy. He didn't have anything that he considered as fun. He didn't find much pleasure in much at all anymore, not even eating. In his way of eating, he was very matter of fact. It didn't seem as though he was necessarily enjoying his meal, but he was a very calm person, at least in this vision. He felt very pessimistic to me, but not outspokenly pessimistic. More so of just not seeing optimism, kind of a blank slate. And I felt the thoughts coming from him. I'm not knowing where to go. I'm not knowing that there is anywhere to go except alone. I'm not sure if this is actually his name or the name of someone who is living, a person he's trying to reach. But the letters CH came to me. Something like Chuck or Charlie or Chad or even Chadberry could be a last name. Also, the name Christian with a CH came to me as well. So, those are some identifying factors and details that Spirit called to me that sort of symbolized things. I wasn't really sure if this man was eating at home or at a diner, but definitely the two top table was a symbol to me that he eats alone. And I did not see a chair on the other side of the table. I did not see an empty chair as though he was expecting anyone else, just simply that he was eating alone at a very small table. He's coming through now again to say, I'm sorry. I do realize that I left you behind. I am now feeling much joy. I am now in peace. I'm now with my dog. I now understand everything. He says he loves his living in body loved ones, and he is with you. He is now eating with you. He is now enjoying events with you, and he wants to offer resolution to any of his living in body loved ones who have any doubt or guilt or sadness around his passing, because he is with you now and you can talk to him. So thank you very much for listening to this call out. I hope this has brought peace and resolution to at least someone, and or helped you understand some of the symbolism that is encountered in mediumship sessions and with communicating with spirit. I will see you next time. Thanks so very much. Namaste.